Welcome to Rem Reads. We're so glad you're here. This is our first cycle, so to speak, and we hope you'll let us know how we're doing here in Season 1. Now is a good time to find your favorite sleeping position. Take a few deep breaths and just let go of the day. The only thing left on your schedule is to enjoy this time of rest and relaxation. We hope you enjoy the show. A carpet of dead pine needles were soft under our footsteps as we ran for the bunkhouse, hopping into my cousin's matte white Chevy Lumina. We were on a mission for sugar. Generally speaking, I was a good kid, a curious kid. So anything that seemed like it was bad or off limits was naturally intriguing to me. I particularly was interested in candy cigarettes that had a very distinct flavor, yet somehow also tasted like nothing. Penny candies from root beer barrels to rainbow buttons and crunchy rocks on a stick were also in order. My oldest cousin loved the real maple candies that took the form of soft, tiny leaves, and my sister loved a good chewy caramel stick with the cream center. Cows in neighboring pastures flicked their tails to stave off flies, and eventually we emerged from the woods to a main thoroughway. Love Child by the Supremes was playing on a cassette tape, ribbons packed with assorted oldies, mostly from the 60s. Through the trees, I saw a flash of buttercream yellow just down the road, and minutes later, we pulled into the old country store. Sugar is the generic name for sweet-tasting, soluble carbohydrates, many of which are used in food. Simple sugars, also called monosaccharides, include glucose, fructose, and galactose. Starch is a glucose polymer found in plants, the most abundant source of energy in human food. Some other chemical substances may have a sweet taste, but are not classified as sugar. Sugars are found in the tissues of most plants. Honey and fruits are abundant natural sources of simple sugars. Sucrose is especially concentrated in sugarcane and sugar beet, making them ideal for efficient commercial extraction to make refined sugar. In 2016, the combined world production of these two crops was about 2 billion tons. Maltose may be produced by malting grain. Lactose is the only sugar that cannot be extracted from plants. It can only be found in milk and in some dairy products. The cheap source of sugar is corn syrup, industrially produced by converting cornstarch into sugars such as maltose, fructose, and glucose. Sucrose is used in prepared foods like cookies and cakes. It's sometimes added to commercially available ultra-processed food and beverages, and is sometimes used as a sweetener for food like toast and cereal, and beverages like coffee and tea. The average person consumes about 53 pounds of sugar each year. As free sugar consumption grew in the latter part of the 20th century, researchers began to examine whether a diet high in free sugar, especially refined sugar, was damaging to human health. In 2015, the World Health Organization strongly recommended that adults and children reduce their intake of free sugars to less than 10% of their total energy intake and encouraged a reduction to below 5%. The etymology of sugar reflects the commodity's spread. From Sanskrit sarkara, meaning ground or candied sugar, came Persian shakar and Arabic sukar. The Arabic word was borrowed in medieval Latin as sucarum, whence came the 12th century French sucre and the English sugar. Sugar was introduced into Europe by the Arabs in Sicily and Spain. The English word jaggery, a coarse brown sugar made from date palm sap or sugarcane juice, has a similar etymological origin. Sugar has been produced in the Indian subcontinent for thousands of years. Sugarcane cultivation spread from there into China via the Khyber Pass and caravan routes. It was not plentiful or cheap in early times, and in most parts of the world, honey was more often used for sweetening. Originally, people chewed raw sugarcane to extract its sweetness. Even after refined sugarcane became more widely available during the European colonial era, palm sugar was preferred in Java and other sugar-producing parts of Southeast Asia, and along with coconut sugar, is still used locally to make desserts today. Sugarcane is native of tropical areas such as the Indian subcontinent, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. Different species seem to have originated from different locations. One of the earliest historical references to sugarcane is in Chinese manuscripts dating to the 8th century BCE, which state that the use of sugarcane originated in India. Sugar remained relatively unimportant until the Indians discovered methods of turning sugarcane juice into granulated crystals that were easier to store and transport. At around 350 AD, Indians figured out a way to create crystallized sugar from the sugarcane juice. It was then considered as sweet spice, and Indian traders started trading sugar outside India. A Greek physician attested to the method in his 1st century medical treatise. There is a kind of coalesced honey called sugar, found in reeds in India and Arabia, similar in consistency to salt and brittle enough to be broken between the teeth like salt. Indian sailors, who carried clarified butter and sugar as supplies, introduced knowledge of sugar along the various trade routes they traveled. Traveling Buddhist monks took sugar crystallization methods to China. During the reign of Harsha in North India, Indian envoys in Tang, China, taught methods of cultivating sugarcane after Emperor Taizong of Tang made known his interest in sugar. China established its first sugarcane plantations in the 7th century. Chinese documents confirm at least 2 missions to India, initiated in 647 CE, to obtain technology for sugar refining. Nearchus, admiral of Alexander the Great, knew of sugar during the year 325 BC because of his participation in the campaign of India led by Alexander. The Roman Pliny the Elder also described sugar in his 1st century CE natural history. Sugar is made in Arabia as well, but Indian sugar is better. It is a kind of honey found in cane, white as gum, and it crunches between the teeth. It comes in lumps the size of a hazelnut. Sugar is used only for medical purposes. Crusaders brought sugar back to Europe after their campaigns in the Holy Land, where they encountered caravans carrying sweet salt. Early in the 12th century, the Republic of Venice acquired some villages near Tyre and set up estates to produce sugar for export to Europe. It supplemented the use of honey, which had previously been the only available sweetener. William of Tyre, writing in the late 12th century, described sugar as very necessary for the use and health of mankind. In the 15th century, Venice was the chief sugar refining and distribution center in Europe. There was a drastic change in the mid-15th century when Madeira and the Canary Islands were settled from Europe and sugar introduced there. After this, an all-consuming passion for sugar swept through society as it became far more easily available, though initially still very expensive. By 1492, Madeira was producing over 300,000 pounds of sugar annually. Genoa, one of the centers of distribution, became known for candied fruit, while Venice specialized in pastries, sweets, and sugar sculptures. Sugar was considered to have valuable medicinal properties as a warm food under prevailing categories, being helpful to the stomach, to cure cold diseases, and soothe lung complaints. A feast given in Tours in 1457 by Gaston de Foix, which is probably the best and most complete account we have of a late medieval banquet, includes the first mention of sugar sculptures, as the final food brought in was a heraldic menagerie sculpted in sugar. Lions, stags, monkeys, each holding in paw or beak the arms of the Hungarian king. Other recorded grand feasts in the decades following included similar pieces. Originally, the sculptures seemed to have been eaten in the meal, but later they became merely table decorations. Several significant sculptors are known to have produced them. In some cases, their preliminary drawings survive. Early ones were in brown sugar, partly cast in molds, with the final touches carved. They continued to be used until at least the coronation banquet for Edward VII of the UK in 1903. Among other sculptures, every guest was given a sugar crown to take away. In August 1492, Christopher Columbus collected sugarcane samples in La Gomera in the Canary Islands and introduced it to the New World. The cuttings were planted and the first sugarcane harvest in Hispaniola took place in 1501. Many sugar mills have been constructed in Cuba and Jamaica by the 1520s. The Portuguese took sugarcane to Brazil, 1540, there were 800 cane sugar mills in Santa Catarina Island and another 2,000 on the north coast of Brazil, Demerara, and Suriname. It took until 1600 for Brazilian sugar production to exceed that of São Tomé, which was the main center of sugar production in 16th century. Sugar was a luxury in Europe until the early 19th century, when it became more widely available due to the rise of beet sugar in Prussia and later in France under Napoleon. Beet sugar was a German invention since, in 1747, Andreas Sigismund Marggraf announced the discovery of sugar in beets and devised a method using alcohol to extract it. Marggraf's student devised an economical industrial method to extract the sugar in its pure form in the late 18th century. Beet sugar was first produced in 1783 in Karlsdorf, and in 1801, the world's first beet sugar production facility was established in what is now Poland. The works of Marggraf and his student were the starting points for the sugar industry in Europe and for the modern sugar industry in general, since sugar was no longer a luxury product and a product almost only produced in warmer climates. Sugar became highly popular and by the 19th century was found in every household. This evolution of taste and demand for sugar as an essential food ingredient resulted in major economic and social changes. Demand drove, in part, the colonization of tropical islands and areas where labor-intensive sugarcane plantations and sugar manufacturing facilities could be successful. World consumption increased more than 100 times from 1850 to 2000, led by Britain, where it increased from about 2 pounds per head per year in 1650 to 90 pounds by the early 20th century. In the late 18th century, Britain consumed about half the sugar which reached Europe. After slavery was abolished, the demand for workers in European colonies in the Caribbean was filled by indentured laborers from the Indian subcontinent. Millions of enslaved or indentured laborers were brought to various European colonies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia, influencing the ethnic mixture of numerous nations around the globe. Sugar also led to some industrialization of areas where sugar cane was grown. For example, in the 1790s, Lieutenant J. Patterson of the Bengal Presidency promoted to the British Parliament the idea that sugarcane could grow in British India, where it had started, with many advantages and at less expense than the West Indies. As a result, sugar factories were established in Bihar and eastern India. During the Napoleonic Wars, sugar beet production increased in continental Europe because of the difficulty of importing sugar when shipping was subject to blockade. By 1880, the sugar beet was the main source of sugar in Europe. It was also cultivated in Lincolnshire and other parts of England, although the UK continued to import the main part of its sugar from its colonies. Until the late 19th century, sugar was purchased in loaves, which had to be cut In later years, granulated sugar was more usually sold in bags. Sugar cubes were produced in the 19th century. In 1841, Jacob Christoph Rad produced the first sugar cube in the world. He began sugar cube production after being granted a 5-year patent for the process in January of 1843. Henry Tate of Tate & Lyle was another early manufacturer of sugar cubes at his refineries in Liverpool and London. Sugar was rationed during World War I, though it was said that no previous war in history had been fought so largely on sugar and so little on alcohol, and more sharply during World War II. Rationing led to the development and use of various artificial sweeteners. Due to rising demand, sugar production in general increased some 14% over the period 2009 to 2018. The largest importers were China, Indonesia, and the United States. Sugarcane accounted for around 21% of the global crop production over the 2000 to 2021 period. The Americas was the leading region in the production of sugarcane, 52% of the world total. Global production of sugarcane in 2022 was 1.9 billion tons, with Brazil producing 38% of the world total and India producing 23%. Sugarcane is any of several species, or their hybrids, of giant grasses. They have been cultivated in tropical climates in the Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia over centuries for the sucrose found in their stems. Sugarcane requires a frost-free climate with sufficient rainfall during the growing season to make full use of the plant's substantial growth potential. The crop is harvested mechanically or by hand, chopped into lengths and conveyed rapidly to the processing plant, commonly known as a sugar mill, where it is either milled and the juice extracted with water or extracted by diffusion. The juice is clarified with lime and heated to destroy enzymes. The resulting thin syrup is concentrated in a series of evaporators, after which further water is removed. The resulting supersaturated solution is seeded with sugar crystals, facilitating crystal formation and drying. Molasses is a byproduct of the process, and the fiber from the stems is burned to provide energy for the sugar extraction process. The crystals of raw sugar have a sticky brown coating and either can be used as they are and can be bleached by sulfur dioxide or can be treated in a carbonation process to produce a whiter product. About 660 US gallons of irrigation water is needed for every 2.2 pounds of sugar produced. In 2022, global production of sugar beets was 260 million tons, led by Russia with 18.8% of the world total. Sugar beet became a major source of sugar in the 19th century when methods for extracting the sugar became available. It is a biennial plant, the tuberous root of which contains a high proportion of sucrose. It is cultivated as a root crop in temperate regions with adequate rainfall and requires a fertile soil. The crop is harvested mechanically in the autumn and the crown of leaves and excess soil removed. The roots do not deteriorate rapidly and may be left in the field for some weeks before being transported to the processing plant, where the crop is washed and sliced and the sugar extracted by diffusion. Milk of lime is added to the raw juice with calcium carbonate. After water is evaporated by boiling the syrup under a vacuum, the syrup is cooled and seeded with sugar crystals. The white sugar that crystallizes can be separated in a centrifuge and dried, requiring no further refining. Refined sugar is made from raw sugar that has undergone a refining process to remove the molasses. Raw sugar is sucrose, which is extracted from the sugar cane or sugar beet. While raw sugar can be consumed, the refining process removes unwanted tastes and results in refined sugar or white sugar. The sugar may be transported in bulk to the country where it will be used, and the refining process often takes place there. The first stage is known as affination and involves immersing the sugar crystals in a concentrated syrup that softens and removes the sticky brown coating without dissolving them. The crystals are then separated from the liquor and dissolved in water. The resulting syrup is treated either by carbonation or by a phosphation process. Both involve the precipitation of a fine solid in the syrup, and when this is filtered out, many of the impurities are removed at the same time. Removal of color is achieved by using either a granular activated carbon or an ion exchange resin. The sugar syrup is concentrated by boiling and then cooled and seeded with sugar crystals, causing the sugar to crystallize out. The liquor is spun off in a centrifuge, and the white crystals are dried in hot air and ready to be packaged or used. The surplus liquor is made into refiner's molasses. The International Commission for Uniform Methods of Sugar Analysis sets standards for the measurement of the purity of refined sugar, known as the ICUMSA numbers. Lower numbers indicate a higher level of purity in the refined sugar. Refined sugar is used widely for industrial needs for higher quality. Refined sugar is purer than raw sugar. The level of purity associated with the colors of sugar, expressed by the standard number ICUMSA. The smaller ICUMSA numbers indicate the higher purity of sugar. Crystal sizes include coarse-grained sugar, also known as sanding sugar, composed of reflective crystals with grain size of about 1 to 3 millimeters, similar to kitchen salt. Used to top baked products and candies, it will not dissolve when subjected to heat and moisture. Granulated sugar, also known as table sugar or regular sugar, is used at the table to sprinkle on foods and to sweeten hot drinks, and in home baking to add sweetness and texture to baked products and desserts. It is also used as a preservative to prevent microorganisms from growing and perishable food from spoiling, as in candied fruits, jams, and marmalades. Milled sugars, such as powdered sugar, are ground to a fine powder. They are used for dusting foods and in baking and confectionery. Screen sugars, such as castor sugar, are crystalline products separated according to the size of the grains. They are used for decorative table sugars, for blending in dry mixes, and in baking and confectionery. Shapes of sugar. Cube sugar, sometimes called sugar lumps, are white or brown granulated sugars, lightly steamed and pressed together in block shape. They are used to sweeten drinks. Sugar loaf was the usual cone form in which refined sugar was produced and sold until the late 19th century. Brown sugars are granulated sugars, either containing residual molasses or with the grains deliberately coated with molasses to produce a light or dark colored sugar, such as muscovado and turbinado. They are used in baked goods, confectionery, and toffees. Their darkness is due to the amount of molasses they contain. They may be classified based on their darkness or country of origin. Liquid sugars. Syrups are thick, viscous liquids consisting primarily of a solution of sugar and water. They are used in the food processing of a wide range of products, including beverages, hard candy, ice cream, and jams. Inverted sugar syrup, commonly known as invert syrup and invert sugar, is a mixture of two simple sugars, glucose and fructose, that is made by heating granulated sugar in water. It is used in breads, cakes, and beverages for adjusting sweetness, aiding moisture retention, and avoiding crystallization of sugars. Molasses is obtained by removing sugar from sugar cane or sugar beet juice. As a byproduct of sugar production, it may be blended with the above-mentioned syrups to enhance sweetness and used in a range of baked goods and confectionery, including toffees and licorice. In winemaking, fruit sugars are converted into alcohol by a fermentation process. If the must formed by pressing the fruit has low sugar content, additional sugar may be added to raise the alcohol content of the wine in a process called chaptalization. In the production of sweet wines, fermentation may be halted before it has run its full course, leaving behind some residual sugar that gives the wine its sweet taste. Low-calorie sweeteners are often made of maltodextrin with added sweeteners. Maltodextrin is an easily digestible synthetic polysaccharide consisting of short chains of 3 or more glucose molecules and is made by the partial hydrolysis of starch. Strictly, maltodextrin is not classified as sugar as it contains more than 2 glucose molecules, although its structure is similar to maltose, a molecule composed of 2 joined glucose molecules. Worldwide sugar provides 10% of the daily calories. In 1750, the average Briton got 72 calories a day from sugar. In 1913, this had risen to 395. In 2015, sugar still provided around 14% of the calories in British diets. According to one source, per capita consumption of sugar in 2016 was highest in the United States followed by Germany and the Netherlands. Brown and white granulated sugar are 97% to nearly 100% carbohydrates, respectively, with less than 2% water and no dietary fiber, protein, or fat. Brown sugar contains a moderate amount of iron, but a typical serving of 4 grams would provide 15 calories and a negligible amount of iron or any other nutrient. Because brown sugar contains 5 to 10% molasses reintroduced during processing, its value to some consumers is a richer flavor than white sugar. Manufacturers of sugary products, such as soft drinks and candy, and the Sugar Research Foundation, have been accused of trying to influence consumers and medical associations in the 1960s and 1970s by creating doubt about the potential health hazards of sucrose overconsumption while promoting saturated fat as the main dietary risk factor in cardiovascular diseases. In 2016, the criticism led to recommendations that diet policymakers emphasize the need for high-quality research that accounts for multiple biomarkers on development of cardiovascular diseases.